Just want to take a couple minutes and talk to you about my latest Art Cook's profit chain tips. And if you notice, this is different wording. Instead of calling it newsletter, I'm switching over to supply chain tips because the idea is I want to give everybody a tip on how they can make their business a little bit better from month to month. The other thing that you'll notice is my July newsletters coming out in August. That's because I took a little bit of time off in the afternoons during July to visit some family and spend some time just catching my breath. So with that, I'm a little bit behind in my writings, but right now it looks like I'm going to be all caught up through the end of August. In the July newsletter, I'm going to be talking about, or spent some time talking about how to avoid supply chain disruptions. How this come about is a past colleague has been recently promoted to CEO of a nice sized business. When she was onboarding, she was digging through what was going on and what she got herself into. And the biggest issue of the day was disruptions within the supply chain. And the entire team, whether it was supply chain, engineering, operations, really had a defeatist attitude. So we did a little bit of prep work. I talked to her and we pulled together an afternoon of a strategy session. From the strategy session, we come up with one common theme, and the common theme was what's the single thing that they could do to improve supply chain disruptions? And the common theme was to reduce lead time. And by reducing lead time, they would improve their responsiveness, flexibility, and the predictiveness of the orders to their customers and the orders coming in. So within this, we broke it into two categories. The first category is what can procurement influence the most? The first one was ask and challenge suppliers on their current lead times. The second one was check and see what the suppliers are actually delivering to. Sometimes you might have a lead time of, say, 10 weeks, but if a supplier is consistently delivering to less than that, change your lead time to it. The third element was, are the parts commercially available? And if parts are commercially available, often it is a better, more cost-effective model to order it from a distributor than it is directly from the manufacturer, because with a distributor, you can compress the lead time. The distributor stocks a lot of inventory for many different customers, and all of that inventory across many different customers levels out or nullifies demand variability. And then you can have product much quicker. They'll give you a better price on it, and you don't run into disruptions. The fourth element is give your suppliers a 6-month, 9-month, or 12-month forecast. Too often I walk into businesses and they're not giving this to their suppliers. And by not giving this bit of information to the suppliers, they're unable to plan ahead and determine what they're doing. A third quick thing to do is implement raw material, work in process, and finished goods authorizations. A little bit more tricky to do, but it can be done. And by doing that, and you build a long-term agreement with your supplier, you can effectively reduce your lead time on those components to in transit or shipping time. After we spent some time doing that, we dug into what operations can do. And operations originally was sitting back thinking everything was supply chain. And what I did was I kind of talked to him and said, this is just not an operations issue. I mean, a supply chain issue. You have to think about what can engineering do? What can supplier engineering do? What can the internal engineering of manufacturing do, from also HR to IT to human resources to the production line? And from that, we broke it into their look at resourcing simple items into different suppliers, resourcing more complex items into other suppliers, what can be done to nearshore, reshore, and insource. After we went through how each one of these departments can work to improve their competitiveness on reducing the lead times, bringing product to different suppliers or away from very remote areas, everybody started feeling that, hey, they could see the light at the end of the tunnel and it wasn't a freight train. We come up with some families of parts, some commodity of parts, a couple different opportunities within each area. And from that, the organization, when we left after it was almost 4 hours, they felt very convinced that they could make an impact on improving the disruptions, reducing the overall lead time of components coming in, their manufacturing process, and how long it takes to get to their customers. By doing this, they know that they're now in charge of, or they're in control of, improving their flexibility, their responsiveness, and increasing the predictability of orders going to customers. They felt like they now had something they could manage. It was kind of like a marching cry. They were all working on the same page and they could move forward. Now, the next step over the 6 months is to monitor every other week, once a month, to see what their process is. So, this is what something simple that I did for a client just recently, and it's probably something you can do for yourself. If you have any questions, give me a call and we can talk further. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye bye.